So recently we did do AEW's best moments as All Elite Wrestling turns 5 years old. So now, mostly because of the YouTube algorithm, we have to do the opposite. Please do remember to take this all with your tongue in your cheek, because wrestling never stops. Not everything can be great. I am Simon Miller. Let's go. Number 10, those really weird cameos. Or maybe they were meant to be proper roster members. This is why this is here. We still don't really know. But one day Chavo Guerrero was through the door, and then he was gone. Vicky Guerrero was there for longer, and she was a friend of Nyla Rose. And then she was gone too. Paige Van Zandt was hanging out with Dan Lambert's crew for a while just because, for some reason, we brought Eric Bischoff and stuck him in there. Now I could go on because there are a ton of these, but there was a good period where trying to figure out who was part of the company and who wasn't was impossible. It felt like all these names were just being pulled out of a hat. I don't want to be that guy, but there was a section of the audience that just didn't want to see him. Now, I wouldn't say it was all bad, but it didn't help at all, and afterwards, nearly all of these individuals spoke negatively about AEW. That's not what you want. It just gets people asking questions. Also, sometimes folk take it way too far. At the end of the day, it's just wrestling. Number 9, The Nightmare Collective. I don't really know what we were trying to do with this. With all the noise out there, I think we may have had multiple creative heads pulling in different directions. The moment which really baffled everybody was when Brandy Rhodes and Awesome Kong grabbed Mel out of the crowd and shaved her head. Now, who was Mel? Why was she here? Why did she do nothing after this? I think going spooky wooky so early in AEW was always going to be tough, as fans were so desperate for a WWE alternative. Then they felt like this was just doing the same. Let's not also forget that Brandy was way better when she was storming on the stage shouting, "Who told you this was open mic night, bitch?" That still makes me laugh. It's one of the best moments ever to happen in wrestling. We should have gone all the way with it. Number 9, the Agogo Cody weigh-in. Sometimes a segment gets away from you, and that's what's happened here. It was really quite cool as Anthony Agogo was getting his first proper push, and who better than Cody Rhodes? He loves these kind of feuds. As Agogo was a former Olympic boxer, we let into that world because we did a weigh-in. Man, this did not go to plan. For whatever reason, it just went on and on for what felt like half the show, and as Paul White was there too, he tried to get the official weights and he couldn't do it. But the thing was, these were made up anyway, so why didn't he just stay a number? Instead, he played with that machine for what felt like an eternity. The match itself was weird too, as Rhodes won and then nothing else happened. We sort of just forgot about this. One way or the other after the fact, both Cody and Anthony have admitted this could have gone better, and they were correct. Cody Rhodes too. Ever since, this has been nothing but a meme. Number 7, the Women's Division. At first, or maybe at some point in the middle. Nowadays, you have to give credit where credit is due. The AEW women's roster is stacked, and we've had some great stories, including the 9-month feud between Mariah May and Toni Storm. Can't say we didn't put some time into that. There was just a period where everything felt so slapdash and without direction, plus we didn't get the top stars clashing. We were always so close, but it never happened. Jamie Hayter versus Britt Baker, for example. That feud was teased for ages, and then we were gonna do it, but it didn't go down. We also fell into the bad practice of just putting one women's match on per show, and that never works. You have to build the whole thing up so people can care. It shouldn't feel like a novelty. Again though, fair play to the powers that be that did listen to the fans and getting us to where we are now. I would say in the latter half of 2024, it is actually very good. Number 6, Matt Hardy's horrible fall. So this is mostly because I was genuinely scared, but it's a timely reminder not to keep matches going if somebody could be hurt. It's wrestling and it doesn't matter. But during All Out 2020, Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara were having their street fight when they started to scrap atop a cherry picker. Why wouldn't you do that? I think the idea was for Matt to hurl Sam through a table, but when he came down as well, my gosh. Hardy smashed his head into the concrete floor. I'm not kidding, for a second it looked like he was dead. Thankfully he was okay, but this was no fun, and for some reason this entire feud was cursed. These accidents kept happening and the entertainment sort of went away, because in its place was pure fear. So just one more time, and I know I'm annoying, please forgive me, let's just stop matches if we can. Health and happiness first and foremost, and also, Matt Hardy has done it all, he does not need to give us any more. Number 5, December 18th, 2019. So yes, I did try to defend this at the time on ups and downs. I have gone back and watched it since, and sure, it's not great. We were just so early into the birth of AEW, I thought we should all give it more time. It is 2024 now though, and yeah, the closing of the 18th of December 2019 Dynamite as the Dark Order debuted did not work. I think All Elite Wrestling overly assumed how familiar their fans were with the indie scene. this was met with silence. The fact Evil Uno and Co were meant to be killers also didn't help, as at the first hurdle it didn't click. Then there were those punches. I don't want to talk about that, it did get out of hand, but were they well executed? No, that's the end of the conversation. Mainly it wasn't what the audience wanted from a new promotion, although this is when Tony Khan took the creative reins. So at least there was a reaction, but sure, it has not aged great. Number 4, the Evolution Bomb, which didn't go off. I think we all know this wasn't ideal. The shame is that we forget the sheer agony Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley went through before this, but that's just how a story works. If the ending misses, it's all anybody's going to talk about. Hello, Mass Effect 3. In case you don't know, this was an exploding barbed wire death match, and yeah, just as the bomb was about to explode, it didn't. Instead, we just got some sparklers. Somebody had not set this up right. Poor Eddie Kingston also had to act like he was dead because he was trying to protect his best friend. And we should likely do another of these so we can make amends and forget about this one. At least everybody involved laughed at themselves afterwards, and when you do that, we could all move on pretty fast. I mean, shit happens. Deal with it. Number 3, Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho. And it's not even anything to do with them. It was AEW going way to WWE and not the good WWE. 2019 WWE. So once again, if you don't know, it happened at All Out 2023 and was billed as an unsanctioned match. Now put that in your brain. In AEW today, that means utter death. See Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland. And sure, Jericho and Cole kicked the crap out of each other when for no reason it ended, thanks to referee stoppage. I am not talking that cage match at All Out 2024 either, where Hangman tried to kill Swerve with the worst chair shot ever. Instead, Cole just punched Jericho with a chain as the referee decided this was too much and called it. It didn't work, it left people feeling confused, but once again it was meant to be an unsanctioned match. You also had a run-in from Sabu, and look, I don't like comparing them because what's the point, but I do get it here. Fans felt like this was a new version of 2019's Hell in a Cell between Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt. That one is way worse, but nothing should come close. If you promise utter doom, we need utter doom. Or at least Dr. Doom. It is unfair on one level as they got judged more because they are massive stars, but they know this comes with the territory. Number 2, losing AEW Dark. A strange one, I grant you, and this is nostalgia really. Even though AEW is only 5 years old, how the hell do we have nostalgia already? But given All Elite Wrestling was pitched as an alternative, having a weekly YouTube show where you could see the stars of tomorrow, and wrestlers kind of doing whatever they wanted, was awesome. Just felt so fresh, and fresh is good and clean. I understand why Tony Khan moved away from it because he got an awesome TV deal from WBD, and it's called the wrestling business for a reason. We are just silly fans though, and there was this idea that the cancellation of Dark is where maybe things became a bit too normal. The chaos had been appreciated. I suppose we can compare it to a band finally making it to, I don't know, let's say Madison Square Garden. It is great to see. They never really sounded the same again. Now, once again, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I feel like I made a good point. Number 1, Brawl Out. Some people will tell you this is the best moment in AEW history. It was a moment in time, and seeing CM Punk just go off at the All Out 2022 press conference was astonishing. When I first saw it, I thought it was AI. Nope. Over 18 months later, people were still talking about this, mainly because it was the beginning of the end for CM Punk and AEW. Tried to sort it out, but it was never happening. And come November 2023, he was back in WWE, and that was that. The reason it can certainly be viewed negatively is because it took focus away from the in-ring product. It caused serious issues backstage. Always remember that too. I very much doubt anybody involved was happy it went down. Just sounded miserable. The whole thing should have been shut down before it began, but hey ho, that's how you learn. Would have been way better if this hadn't have happened though. I'll just give it to you in nice sentence form. It was not great. Know of any other AEW moments that weren't completely to your taste? Please let me know in the comments below before you like the video, share the video, and subscribe. You see that video on the screen? It's the best moments of AEW, so you can be happy again. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining me as always, my friends. I'll see you soon.